Chip Talk's just starting, getting very excited about this.
Pursue an obsession.
See how far we get.
That's what pushes us to greatness. The Oasis. It's real.
So in the keynote speech for the day, Life in the Verse, they showed the 400i as a preview. There's a Knox right there being brought into its cargo hold. In that forward bay, right in front of its stairwell. Anyway, they showed it off. It's a real ship, as Jared just pointed out. It is not a figment of our imagination, and it's no longer invisible. It's not the 404. It's the 400i. It's already up on the sale page
awesome.
for $220 USD, $250 USD non-war bond, and there is a paints that are CitizenCon specific, and also the package with concierge that includes one additional free paint.
What I think everyone's kind of done.
Yeah. Right. So we should probably get on with the show. This is Ship Talk, where we are going to talk about a variety of things today. My name's John Crew. I'm the Vehicle Director here at CIG.
I'm Ben Curtis, and I'm the Vehicle Art Director at CIG.
And I'm Paul Jones, Art Director.
Now it looks like they just spawned up the Q&A for the 400i already. It's really cool to see them this responsive.
So the 400i, it's a Constellation competitor. And we've got a few of these ships in this category across the board. We have the Constellation, we have the Corsair, and now we have the 400i. And the 400i has a few interesting features that make
For the record,
a compelling choice over
the upgrade from the Corsair to the 400i is $5 USD right now.
But also it can carry cargo and a vehicle at the same time. Size-wise, there's obviously a big gap in the range. We have the 100 series at the start. It jumps up to the 300 series. Then there's the big jump to the 600 series, and then another jump to the 890. So finding a space for this was fairly easy size-wise.
I think it fills the gap quite nicely. So in terms of the process, normally what happens is we assign it to one concept artist, and we start the ball rolling. So it's really just a game of sort of exploration at this point. It's fast and loose. We always have a timeline for each concept, and so it's the pressure is always on. Basically, it doesn't matter how many ships we've done. There's always that pressure to get it done and hit the sort of key points. And so at this point of exploration, it's really sort of loosey-goosey in terms of figuring out ideas, looking at shapes, looking at silhouettes, and sort of not locking yourself into a line of thinking. It's basically, we'll look at different ships. So some will be more influenced by the 600i, some more by the 100i, and then we'll sort of do a mix and match.
I wonder if it does have that retractable roof.
Like I said, sometimes you don't quite hit it on that sort of,
I think
like right at the beginning.
Yeah, when you've got like a well-established manufacturer, it's really beneficial because you kind of you have that to pull from, but you also don't want to get into the point where it's just a scaled down 600 or a scaled up. Do you know what I mean? You kind of like, you don't want them all just to look like they're the same ship, just slightly different variants.
Yeah.
So I think the 400 is, it certainly stands out within the lineup, but it's clearly an origin ship.
And I think it's, because we sort of follow the sort of car manufacturers, don't we, in terms of the brand. It's sort of expanding the brand. Sort of the brand also develops over time. So we have like a double.
Yeah.
Since the start of the project, Origin has sort of slightly changed its style a little bit. And then, like say, you don't want just a mini 600.
Yeah.
Even though there's a part of me that would just be like, right, let's do a mini 600.
I do really like the 600. The 600.
I wouldn't have minded a Mini 600. The Mini 600 is a hell of a package. It's just the inside need to be reworked.
Been done for the, what was it? I think it was 100i. There was a little thumbnail. It's literally in my head. It's about that big, and the sketch is just teeny weeny. I was like, I kind of want a version like this. This looks kind of cool. And so basically, in the end, I just went in and kick-bashed some ideas together.
So this was before my time on the ship team, so it's quite interesting
really?
to learn a bit more about the process.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's a
the
great ship. It's my favourite one, Paul. In that case.
a lot of the little concept thumbnails. Get
Because this is Twitch,
see
I
what
can't
we
easily
often
pause
show
and
in
unpause.
the
Sometimes it messes up, so I'm just kind of letting it run.
You see all the early sketches.
So I apologize. I have to talk
People
over
probably
this discussion and
noticed,
positions
that
where
400i,
things aren't
thumbnail
moving
that we did
forward.
That was rejected for the 100.
I think
Then
this is
come
really
round
interesting.
to
I'm reading the
this,
Q&A
and then
talking
might have
about the X1
ones that we didn't choose for
is
this
the
one.
only thing that will
Yes,
fit
they might appear
in that
future ships.
forward ground vehicle
So
bay.
ultimately,
And then there's a
this
lift in the
is-
back
this is
designed for
what,
cargo.
You know, this is like a visual that I did. So it's it's throwing together a bunch of shapes, what we call kit bashing, from different models. Because it's quick, as an art director, you've always got
Saying it has
Feels like
dual
you've got
size
something
4s pilot controlled,
to get a result.
and then a
So it's
default of
how you
size
get-
3 gimbaled guns,
provide a visual that
and
sound
selection of size 2 and size
in
1
the
missiles.
shortest time possible. And so my understanding of the ship was it was a luxury explorer.
Along with 2 remote turrets, control from the bridge, each with dual size 3s. It's pretty good for the size of the ship. It is much smaller than a 600i. You got to remember that, and the price point is much lower too.
Feedback.
And
Well,
Chris was quite adamant. That
reasonably
this was gonna
lower.
Be, an explorer. It wasn't.
Especially for that
just,
220 war
a
bond. If you get it for
small-scale
that
pilot
type of
ship.
level.
It was, it needed to have a function. It needed to be a competitor to that scale and kind of role of ship.
We did quite a lot of interior investigations and just sort of looking at ways of arranging.
I'm really
space
liking the
within
idea of
ship.
having
Like I said
suit
earlier,
lockers and regular lockers built
this
in.
ship looks big,
Other
so
ships
it's
are just catching
really
up on that
tight.
through their Golden Pass process and
It's a
other
lot harder than you
iterations.
think
This
to
ship comes
achieve
stock with that stuff.
Everything that now Star Citizens expect to have in their ships and
Yeah.
all the components and all
It's
the
a ver-
functionality.
A very streamlined sort of 2 decks, or really like 1 deck that stretches most of the lower section and the upper bit, which had the pool in it.
Yeah.
Maybe one day you'll get
Maybe we get the
you'll get
pool.
your pool one day.
So in terms of this process, what happens is we finish the concept, or what we think is finished, and then get Chris sign off, do a couple of paint schemes, and then it passes over to
Yeah.
your department.
Yeah. So from the concept, normally we'll kind of take it as quickly as possible into the editor, and that just allows us to kind of really get a good sense of the space from the player and making sure that everything that we think we need is actually going to fit, making sure the components go through, and like we were saying earlier, a lot of the time is what a ship starts off with its kind of paper design. Its
Speaking
design
of
document,
component
the point where we're
sizing
actually
and
kind
right
of,
sizing, like he's
working on
speaking
the ship,
about,
the
in the
requirements can
Q&A they
change.
mentioned that the
That
life
might-
support system
that's not just
is
because,
only meant
we're
for a
like, oh, well,
maximum
snap
of
that
crew
through it.
number
It's
of 3,
sometimes,
with
balance
only a
past
small
another
buffer
game,
for
we
space
realise,
safety. So I'm
a
guessing a
certain
4th
ship
person
item,
technically could be there for a
certain size
decent
shield
amount of
might not
time.
be suitable for
It is
anymore,
not a party or
it might
touring
be
ship
just
like the
that,
600i or 890
we think,
Jump,
well, actually,
so it's
it would be
not
great if
equipped
we
to
could fit the X1
handle
in it, 'cause it's
any
kind of the perfect
passengers.
ship for it, but that wasn't, like I say, on the original plans. So yeah, I mean, like you were saying, the ship is kind of a hard split with its 2 floors. So we've kept sort of all of engineering.
I really like the design they
cargo,
have,
storage,
especially with the
everything
airlock
downstairs
system
still,
and the
then
elevator.
the kind of
That's really nice
pads,
tie-ins.
the
And then
crew
you can see that
space
nice
upstairs.
large cargo elevator at the back.
Once we kind of get that white boxing
I'm
going,
very
we then
curious if
start
you could fit a
making sure
ground
that,
vehicle in that
we
cargo
have
elevator at the
everything we
back.
need.
That's why
We
I'm being
also-
very
that's
hesitant
the
about
point
saying
we
that.
kind of really start internally showing that ship to everyone that is invested in it, and including Chris and everyone that needs to kind of have a say. And one
That
of the
shot
things
looks a
that
lot like
Chris
what was
really
being
keen for,
shared
though,
on
he
Reddit.
wanted the ship to be a kind of luxury party ship.
Once again, I don't show
Wanted to
leaks
feel
or
Origin.
anything,
I think
but
originally we had,
you
like, the
can feel
lifts
free to go find
and
stuff
the
yourself and
smaller
see the drama if
Trying
you'd
not
like.
to do hand movements too much.
Yeah.
really. There was just a single small platform just for the crew that went straight
so
up
that's-
into
Yeah, and it,
I
into
mean,
the
that whole
nose.
area was quite tricky, wasn't it? Because there
Yeah.
was the docking ring, the docking collar,
Yep.
Yeah.
the lift,
yeah.
and then there was an entrance to the front and an entrance
You
to
had,
the back.
originally, I think on the concept, you walked
So
in
they're
through the
they're
docking
intending
collar,
for this to have
and like I
fuel-efficient
said, the
engines
floor
that are
was
long
the
for
lift, you got the
range.
collar on the side,
They're not
and then
saying much about speed
towards
with
the other
this
side,
ship
which you
yet
could
for
do like a wax chamber
specifications,
that had
but
the
that would be
signal
inferring
design,
that
I
it's
think
not
it
exactly the
was.
fastest ship
Yeah,
for its size.
And Yeah,
and
the first bit feedback from
they
Chris is
said because of
the
its
entrance doesn't really feel very grand in Origin ship,
cross-section being
and
so
that's where we kind
curved
of introduced the
and
stairs
thin,
and the
it
kind of
should
like
have a
the
better
big,
cross-section.
not marble staircase, but that sort of idea
It's
that you would
slightly
kind of like,
stealthy. It's not designed to
walking
be
into the
stealthy
ship
from the
felt a little
ground
more
up, but it
grand.
is
That
by its
had
very
some
nature a little
knock-ons
stealthier
to the kind of
than, as they
interior
say,
space as well,
blocky ships.
because, obviously making a one-person or two-person lift is something that's relatively small. It fits in a nice tight space.
And at the tail end of this video, I will put in the preview of that tour that they did, that sample mission with this ship. It is a real ship. They've already worked it in. Very cool stuff. Docking collar. Very cool. Not just that staircase, which the staircase is nice, but
Entrance feels quite nice now.
We don't have a lot of ships like that anymore that have the go up the front of it and
Yeah.
inside it.
Yeah, I mean, we've got another one that we'll show after this.
But yeah, most of them, if they've got a ramp, it's like cargo, isn't it? It's pure function and not really.
No, I
kind
think
of
you guys done a great job on this because it was tricky. You
Yeah.
know, I remember it at the time, and you feel the time pressure.
And
it's really cool seeing this crew. They picked a good panel here,
What do we do?
and I even like the informal nature of
But
it.
it also, I mean, it's also nice because it sort of dovetails with that original sketch, which there's an element there in that
Oh, is
thumbnail.
there? Okay.
Yeah, and I think at the time I sort of binned it off because it was just like.
So the 400i only has a single size 3 shield. Interesting.
You know, we've got sort of 64 kilobit gets lost after a short amount of time, but I think we did discuss it, but then it was just like, no, let's go simple. But,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys did good stuff.
Yeah, and then the next thing to tackle, like,
So it's not going to have the survivability of a Connie. They're trying to say the size and maneuverability of this ship being better than an Andromeda means it's harder to hit, so that remains an advantage.
at the back of the ship.
I got mixed feelings about that statement.
In the cargo room.
I mean, I'm not saying a single size 3 shield is nothing, but
But it kind of brought up a few quirks with it. I
it would have been interesting to see at least maybe a size 3, size 2 concept back again. Like some of the larger ships have that concept where they take a larger shield, like even a capsize shield, and then smaller large ones. It would have been cool to see a size 3 and then have like 2 size 2s, so smaller emitters on the sides of the ship.
Get off your bikes.
You know, to kind
run around to the
that would be
ship,
kind of
run up the
interesting.
stairs,
Yeah, and
Or
the stairs-
just look at your bike.
one size 2 in a critical area. That'd be really cool.
Yeah,
Almost
it
like
just
old
felt
ships
kinda
used to
like
have
in terms of
torpedo
Yeah,
belts.
it's like, oh, I need to quickly get off planet, and you're like, oh, right, okay, yeah, send that up. Oh, run, yeah, okay.
Maybe
yeah.
on its
And then
engines,
2 minutes
so it'd be
later,
kind of like a
you
blockade
see
runner
ready to fly.
concept. But
And
I
think
know
that's
that's
one
kind of
the
outside the
kind of-
scope of a
yeah,
touring
the other,
exploration vessel
I guess,
with long-range characteristics.
issue was it started eating into the cargo space, so it meant that you couldn't, once you had the cargo fully loaded, there was very little space for you to kind of traverse around the cargo hold. Basically, we had a number of kind of ideas we played with, and then if you click on, we ended up basically putting it at the opposite end of the ship. Now the nose, should we call it the nose? Yeah, the nose now opens up, and it's got like a nice little kind of dedicated X1 garage in there. It's a nice use of that kind of spine
Yeah.
that was there
Yeah,
originally.
there was nothing really.
The gravity drive was there,
Yeah.
but we kind of nudged that back a bit. And I guess
They
now
should have
it's
included
done,
the
but
X1.
they
I hope they
just
do.
tucked out to the side a little bit, so,
I didn't see
yeah.
anything about an X1 in the in the pages though for this ship, unfortunately,
It had the suit lockers, but it was.
which is unfortunate. As a reminder, all of the orders have a LTI on them,
Taking up that space was.
so I just want to confirm the non-war bond one
really
does
good
as
thing is
well.
All the controls for getting a new ship.
Oh, sorry. The non-war bond is 6 months insurance, so that would definitely not be worth it right now. That would be a CCU style ship. War bond variants have LTI included with them.
I guess right up to your ship.
And once again, 220 USD.
There, you send it up, straight up.
There's one for concierge that comes with additional paint. That's why I'm saying
So, yeah,
two
that's
different
what
ones.
And then
The Penumbra Paint.
most of the
It looks
rest
like
of
it's
the ship
a slightly different
went
shade
pretty much to
of the
plan in terms
CitizenCon
of,
paint with a
what
gold
concept
trim
art,
to
if
it,
there was any
like a
kind of
grayish
real
and
surprises.
gold
So,
to it.
now, as you enter the ship and you come
based
into
on what I
kind of
see.
the main body, you're into engineering. This ship does have
instead of the
large
CitizenCon, which is a dark, like
Yeah, so
nice
that was-
black color,
That was another.
but obviously has less
thing to
gold
make it
trim, so
different.
it does
Um,
differentiate it
obviously
depending on
they
what your
made
style
changes
is.
whilst during development to other ships and shields have changed. So It's not quite as unique as it was, but it's still very well shielded for its size. And the other cool thing about engineering is those rooms at the edge are cool.
Yeah.
They're climate controlled, so it's another nice little thing to play with. Gives all the teams
So we're
something
going to have
extra.
full dry ice and everything.
Full dry ice, yeah.
Like
You
it's
get
gonna
the
come in and it's
comes out
the
going
light sticks out and
to flow out.
a little bit of party mode in there, yeah. But yeah, I think that's it. That was one of the things I think you established early on in the concept was this kind of like cool chamber in engineering.
Yeah,
and it,
because we needed that space. I mean,
Yeah.
you need space to put all the components somewhere, and just thought, let's just turn it into a feature.
yeah,
So
and it kind of fits with the Origin kind of family
Yeah,
as well. I
yeah.
think.
yeah, it's good. It's good.
And then yeah,
Climate
from
controlled engineering area.
Check the back, and that's where
That's
you've
so
got
cool.
your storage. I don't know if you know the SDU size offhand, but
Not off the top of my head now.
no, you can
Should probably put that in the
Prep,
notes.
sorry. So you can fit a decent amount of storage in there. You've also got the escape pods. One of the other things we were doing when we were looking
Good to
at
hear
the space
escape
with the
pods.
bike is
Shame that they didn't have
originally
the
we were kind of-
SCU. That'd be a great
if
way
we
to
put the bike in this area,
cost
that would
benefit
make
analysis it.
the storage reduce. So we were looking at kind of other ways of moving the storage around.
But the elevator kind of looks like the size,
around
a little
rooms,
smaller than an
it
Ursa
would make
Rover could
sense,
fit.
yeah.
I mean, just to give you an idea on
Ideally,
SCU
when you go
size.
through
We're not
fuel
talking about a
costs and
Taurus
stuff,
here,
it just felt
storage
really
area.
awkward, where this kind of gives us the kind of classic traditional,
Big block of cargo.
big block of
Is it
You
cargo.
can have
cargo.
the vehicle in it, can't you?
Yes,
You can
yeah.
have this-
You can fit a cyclone in there.
Yes.
Other
So there we go.
vehicles.
Yeah,
Obviously, it will take away
your cargo
your
space.
cargo
yeah.
space. So it's not
If you're willing to give up the cargo space,
you
you can fit a cyclone on that block.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Very
yeah,
cool.
we kind of make our way upstairs. 3-man, 3-crew bridge.
3-crew bridge.
And yeah, it's it's very, to me anyway, the bridge is very Origin. It feels
to acquire an artifact, and you'll be making your way down to a trading post. So wanted to just give you a quick overview, and then we can start talking about the planet.
Yeah, Pyro 3 is just a terrestrial planet. It has a very thin, breathable atmosphere, but it's still pretty inhospitable, very cold. As you can see, some of those lightning strikes in the clouds, but yeah, very, very pretty looking.
So this is the first time we're actually seeing clouds above a terrestrial planet. You know, we went through quite a few iterations of forms. What we ultimately ended upon was something that felt quite dramatic, still believable in terms of how the wind would have shaped them. But yeah, it's showcasing a lot of the more recent tech that came online. Also, what we're seeing here is like some kind of distant thunder strikes. And what this is, it's kind of like a prelude to, future weather features that will be coming on board, and how this will tie into, storms and ship handling, due to the turbulence. And it's great seeing the, the rain hit the canopy glass here, when you go through these cloud banks. Also, as part of the process of shaping, one of the things we really wanted to do is create these kind of like these pockets in between the clouds. So you're in these cavities, so as you're flying through, you get a glimpse of the terrain beneath you. But it feels really quite exhilarating, to fly through. Also, as well, it's showcasing a lot of the more recent tech coming on board as well. So, it's a lot of optimizations been going on. So it's way more performant than previously it was. Also, like the level of artifacting that we're seeing here is substantially reduced, certainly on higher spec machines.
It also gives you a great sense of parallax when you fly through these cloud sandwiches.
A cloud sandwich?
Yes, that's what it feels like. It feels like you're the meat or the cheese of a cloud sandwich.
The cheese of a cloud sandwich. So as we get out of the cheese, another really big feature that was important for me was, terrain shadowing and terrain occlusion from the cloud. So you're actually seeing, these large areas of occlusion cast onto the terrain. It just adds that depth. It just adds that believability to what we're seeing in the frame. And when you see like these dark overcast clouds in the hovering above the mountains, it finally completes the frame, especially when you see these distant rumbles of thunder in the distance.
So James Cameron, who's doing the run through, yes, that is his name. He will be taking us down to the outpost. The goal for us is to basically make 50 of these, whether they're inhabited or derelicts or even basically inhabited by a farmer or inhabited by a gang. So the goal is to have these act as different factions, and so that you can develop different rep associated with them, and you can start seeing how big these outposts stretch to with the comms tower that's behind us, and then even some of the AA turrets that you'll actually see up close and personal.
That was a really good approach from James there. Good landing. That was a good solid 3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Jeez.
Ian's a tough grader.
Yeah, I go 6 at least.
No one's ever got a 6.
Gotta watch me land, man.
So here we'll go down to the technical deck. Show off the cargo area as well as the climate-controlled component areas, and then onto the gravity generator room and the stairway out. So you'll be able to learn more about the ship in one of the later panels that we have with Ben, Paul, and John. I think the team did a great job on this. I think this is one of my favorite skins. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a new skin, just something that felt a lot more, suitable for Pyro. But you can see how it feels suitably worn and weathered, to fit into these climates. And what we're seeing here is first boots on the ground, on Pyro. I think it looks great, especially in contrast to what we're seeing here is like actual AI on the terrain, walking about, going about their business. And is that an AA turret there?
It is. And radio comms towers and all these other elements that we want to make sure that are interactive for the player and allows them